Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me. This is going to be an awesome show. I can't wait to share with everyone what's been working well for me with live video, and I think everyone will be walking away with a bit of value. Let me first start off. If you're a young lawyer starting your practice in a COVID-19 world, if you're an experienced business person, if you own the local tire store and you're trying to get some traction when it comes to branding your products and services, branding who you are, bringing new customers or clients into the front door, whether it's a real door with mask and social distancing, or whether or not it's a Zoom or live video door where you're communicating with your clients on social media, on the different platforms. I have not found a better way to do all of the above inexpensively, quickly, and easily than live video. And I want to encourage everyone to really think about tapping into the power of video and live video and use the tools that we'll be talking about today. Before we get started, let me know where you are watching from. What will you be using live video for? Let me know in the comments. I'll be monitoring the comments. I'll be looking forward to your questions. If you guys would please share this out to your family and friends on the platform that you're watching the show on, I would really appreciate it. Also, at the end of today's show, I'll be giving away free copies of my book, The Ultimate Guide to Social Media for Business Owners, Professionals, and Entrepreneurs, you guys. It'll be a PDF version. Stick around till the end of the show, and I'll share with you how you can get 52 chapters written by some of the top experts from around the planet. My little gift to you for sticking around and sharing out this show. I'm super excited. It's good to see everyone. We've got Jenny Q joining us, who I will be talking about Jenny Q in a few minutes. So it's good to see you. You guys definitely share your comments and let me know where are you watching from and how will you be using live video. Now, let me click around and get a few things settled here. Before we dive into today's show, what I'm going to be going over is the approach to effectively using live video. I'll be talking about different platforms, different services, inexpensive options, camera, lighting, microphone, how to communicate with your hands and body language when hosting a live video show. Whether you're interviewing a guest, someone in the community that you want to shine a bright light on, you're talking with a client, you're trying to close a deal, you're negotiating a case, you can use live video for all types of different reasons, right? And so what I want to do today is answer questions that I get every day, each week, and I have for years. And that's, Mitch, how are you doing your live videos? What platforms are you using? What are you doing to make all of this work? Now, I am broadcasting from my home office. I'll talk to you guys a little bit about the background, about green screens, about overlays, how I'm doing everything that we're doing here. I will share how I'm bringing up comments from friends of mine, Rebecca Radice, that I can share with you in real time to make the show more interactive. We've got, well, son of a gun. That's interesting. My mouse stopped working. One of the things about live video is that things happen. And when things happen, it's okay. Especially when you have guests like Rebecca or Bob Berg showing up on the show. Bob Berg is the co-author of the Go Giver series of books. Bob knows this and he gets embarrassed when I mention this, but one of my favorite books that Bob's written is Adversaries into Allies. It's a human skills, a people skills book. I won't mentor a young trial lawyer until they've read Bob's book, Adversaries into Allies. I'd like to thank my good friend Sal Gruber to the show. Sal is a gifted trial lawyer and jury consultant. We've got Nick Rishwain from Vice President of Experts.com. Nick, you don't know this, but I'm going to mention to you in an approach that you use when blogging and on live video, and I think everyone's going to really, really enjoy it. So listen, you guys, what I want to do is dive right into the show. We're going to spend about an hour. I'm going to be answering your comments and questions. Let me just share with you that, I am a trial lawyer. This is not what I do for a living, but it's what I've tapped into, the power of live video, to really build my brand, to connect with some amazing people who I've already shared with you and will be sharing with you during today's show. but also to help the consumer. Instead of sitting across the desk one-on-one, we can now hop on a video like this and share advice and information, answer consumers' questions 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000, whether it's the live video or the recorded video, which I'll be doing after the show, and I'm going to show you how to do that. I've used live video, you guys, to get on shows and be a guest with Katie Couric, Anderson Cooper. Live videos got me on shows and on stages like Tony Robbins' Business Mastery event with David Meerman Scott. It's really opened up a lot of doors and has resulted in literally, and I'm not exaggerating, literally 7 figures in revenue coming in from clients who have discovered me on live video or connected with me on live video or heard about the law firm, clicked around, saw a couple of live videos. They felt comfortable with what they were watching and hearing and seeing. And because of that, they picked up the phone or they sent me an email or they DM'd me on Twitter and the relationship started. What I'm going to be sharing with you guys is the easy way to use live video. Okay, there's more than one way when it comes to lighting, microphones, video cameras. I'm going to show you the easy way. So you could arguably, by this time tomorrow, click and go live yourself. So let me first of all, once again, invite everyone to, and this is kind of cool, and I'll show you guys how to do this in the platform that I'm using. If you have questions, if you have comments, please share them. It looks like we've got a full house on the different platforms. I am broadcasting. For those of you not familiar with live video, we are broadcasting. Easy for me to say. And by the way, if I can do this, and I've never been accused of being the brightest bulb in the lamp, you can do it too. We're broadcasting right now with one click, and I'm going to show you how I do this in a few minutes, to Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, LinkedIn, YouTube, my blog, a website. People are watching this on all the different platforms. If you're wondering where everyone's engaging from, this platform pulls in the comments, regardless of where you're watching the show at. But if you're not sure and you want to go over to mitchjackson.live, that's a Facebook page that I have. There's conversation happening over at mitchjackson.live. It is a Facebook Live version of today's show. You can jump over there and comment and ask questions. I'll be watching your questions. And once again, at the end of today's show, we will be giving away several copies of this book, the PDF version. And I'm excited that some of the authors who have contributed content for this book would not have been an Amazon bestseller without my friends contributing chapter. Certainly not from the 8 chapters that I wrote. It's from the other 42, 43, 44 chapters that experts from around the world contributed to the book that made it special. You guys are going to want to get a copy of this book if you're interested in what we're talking about. So what I want to do is let's go ahead and dive into the show. The first thing is, when it comes to live video, you want to have the right mindset. You want to have the mindset of, when you're interviewing a guest or when you're doing what I'm doing right now, you want to talk about adding value to your audience, right? You want to shine a spotlight on your guest. There's a certain way to do that. And in chapter 1 of the book, I started my social media book off with, what is the right mindset to engage, to build, to create a top of mind awareness or brand on social media? And it starts with having the right mindset. It also includes having a go-giver type of approach, giving, and giving some more. And that was the chapter that Bob Berg was so kind enough to contribute to the book. Live videos the same way. You want to make sure you're adding value to your audience. What I'm sharing with you guys right now are answers to questions that I get all the time. This will be recorded. I'll be able to share this video with my audience tomorrow, next week, or next year. I can share this on YouTube. And so when people have questions, when friends of mine want to know, Mitch, how do you do your live video shows? I can just share this video with them if they're not here live today, and make it happen. And I feel really, really good about that. This is not a revenue generating exercise for me at this moment. Live video is, but not this show. So here's what I want to do. I'm going to be sharing, starting right now, different tabs and resources and products and services that are working really well for me, how I'm using them. I've got to click around and open up some websites and things like this. Hopefully I've got it down and I won't make any mistakes. If I do, just bear with me. But what I want to start with is, I want to share with everyone. Let's see if we can make this happen. Let's see what happens here. Hang on a second. Almost there. Application windows, StreamYard. All right. Now, hopefully what I am sharing with everyone is the B&H website. And we're going to start off talking about equipment. We're going to talk about what kind of equipment are we using to do our live videos. I purchased my equipment. I get my equipment at B&H. You can go to Amazon. You can go anywhere you want. But let's start off with webcams. I think the easiest way to do a live video is to use a webcam similar to what I'm using, which is the Logitech. I think I'm using the 925E webcam. It's $100. It sits on top of my monitor. The reason you want to use a webcam instead of the built-in camera for your laptop or desktop is because you get a better quality of video. Now, a lot of professionals will talk to you about, listen, you need to bump it up. You need to attach a separate high quality camera to your live streaming efforts. I don't think that's necessarily the case. What I like to do is have something where I click a couple of buttons and I'm up and running. I don't have to set up a lot of things to get the live stream running. The easiest way for me to do this, and I think you guys will agree that the quality is good enough, is to use a webcam such as one of the Logitech options. You want it to be a USB type of connection, and that works really, really well. Now, I will tell you that if you want to get a little bit fancier, jump on over to Stephanie Liu's website over at Lights Camera Live. And Stephanie, who is a gifted live streamer, she is also a great speaker and someone that has mastered the art of NLP. She has a great blog post, and I can share all these with you if you can't take a picture or a screenshot of the link that I'm sharing. But if you go to Stephanie's site, she has a post, how to live stream with a DSLR. So if for whatever reason you want to bump this up and use a DSLR, Stephanie goes into detail how to pick a camera, how to attach that camera to your computer, and how to integrate that camera the easiest way and the fastest way with your live streaming platform. Okay, so I did want to let you guys know that you can upgrade the camera that you're using. I just like using a webcam because I like things being fast. I like things being inexpensive, and that just seems to work really, really well for me. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is audio. People really don't pay too much attention to audio. Critically important when you're doing a live video, when you're doing a recorded video for YouTube, maybe you're doing something for an Instagram Live or Facebook Live. And I think it's critically important that you go ahead and pick up a USB microphone that is of some quality. I do use the Blue Yeti USB microphone, $120. I think I got mine for about $90 on sale at this Best Buy. Actually, it's this one right here. These things work great. They're indestructible. They're easy to use. They have different adjustments. The point being is everything I'm talking to you guys about, there are 10 to 20 to 50 different options, okay, on how you can do any of this. If you just do what I'm doing, you'll be up and running by tomorrow, assuming you have this equipment. I think the USB microphones work really, really well. The next thing people don't take into consideration, but you need to, is lighting. And let me come back to you real quick, just to kind of give you an idea. Hang on a second. Stop screen share. Sorry about that. Hey, let me know in the comments if that screen share worked for you. If someone could just give me a thumbs up. Jennifer Hoverstead, it's so good to see you. Kathy, it's good to see you. Let's see. So we have Jennifer, who I hosted a show with for, what, Jennifer, maybe a year or two? Which was fun. You guys can do this by yourself. You can have a co-host and bring guests in or talk about breaking news stories. It's good to see you, Jennifer. Kathy is another gifted live streamer. Kathy, it's always good to see you. If you guys want to balance serious conversations with humor, Kathy's the person you want to follow on social media. Bob, it's good to see you. Bob Berg, co-author of the Go Giver series of books, along with a lot of other really great stuff. Go to Bob's website. Nancy Maryland, a attorney marketing expert. It's good to see you, Nancy. So let's see, screen share. Look at this. I asked a question. I got an answer. That's why I'm going to be profiling Nick in a few minutes. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. So here's why I bounce back to you guys. First of all, notice the overlays on my camera, on my screen. I've got Legal Minds right here, my name up here, some social media stuff down here. I'm going to show you how to do this with one click. It's super easy. But the reason I came back to you is I want you guys to know we're going to talk about lights real quick. And in front of me, directly in front of me, I have a ring light. And I'm going to show you where you can pick up a ring light. To each side of me at about 45 degrees, lighting up the green screen, I have 2 studio lights. Now, my lights are a couple of years old. I've been doing this for a while. But I'm going to show you the type of lighting that I have. It's a 3-point lighting system, 1 from the front, 2 from the side at about 45 degrees, lighting both me and the green screen. And if you want to, and I'm going to share resources, you guys, I'm going to connect you with the experts. If you want to dive a little bit deeper on some of these issues, you can do an overhead light. There's different ways to do all this. I'm showing you the easy way, something I can do in 30 seconds and I can be up and running. So let me share my screen again, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Bear with me. All right. Screen share. Application. And I think we are there. All right. So once again, at BH Photo, these are the types of lights that I have at 45-degree angles. Okay, 45-degree angles. I think you guys can still see me. You can pick up these types of lights for 60 or 70 bucks. This is the website page that I came up with last night. Instead of the light bulbs, they now have LED type of systems that are a little bit more, let's just say, solid, adjustable, depending on the lighting in your home. I've got some natural light coming in from the side window. But this type of lighting system, if you're serious about being able to quickly and easily just do your live videos, and I leave mine set up. I don't even break them down at the home office. I click one button and all the lights come on super fast. Have these as the lights that I mentioned at 45 degrees. And then what you want to do is get a ring light, and not a little ring light that sits above your cell phone or sits on top of your computer monitor. Get a ring light that's large, that has its own stand, and it'll look like this. You can put your phone in the center of it if you want to, but get a ring light and use it. It'll make all the difference in the world, especially if you're using a green screen. One of the tricks of effectively using a green screen is to make sure there's plenty of light lighting up the green screen. If you're not using the lights like I'm suggesting, the green screen's not going to look as good as it does in this particular video. All right, let me come back to you. I want to share platforms with everybody. And this is kind of my favorite part. Let me just stop the screen share. There we go. And before I jump over to platforms like StreamYard's, one of the platforms that I'm going to be talking about, let me just thumb through the questions. And thank you guys for being here, for asking questions. See a lot of old friends. What's happening, you guys, is over on the right, there's an administrative admin panel. This admin panel is pulling in questions from Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and putting them all right in front of me. I can respond to these questions publicly. For example, Saul said, hey, the screen share worked. Thank you, Saul. Or I can respond to them privately. And Jennifer Hoverstead says, I love my 18-inch ring light. So easy to collapse and travel too. Everything we're talking about, you guys, you can set up in your home office. If you're like us, working from home, even with COVID-19, you can have this in your traditional office like we also do. We have a dual setup in our conference room. Or you can do some of the things I'll be sharing with you while you're on the road. And I actually think some of those videos are the best ones out there. So now what I'd like to do is let's go ahead and talk about what platforms am I using to make all of this work, right? I think that's the interesting part. And so what I want to do is I'm jumping over to a different browser, but I want to start off with StreamYard, and that's what I'm using to do this show. I've used most of the live streaming services and platforms over the last 9 or 10 years that have come out. I was an early user of a platform called Spreecast, which was created by the co-founder of StubHub, Jeff Floor. And that's something where a lot of us first met over the years. The technology's improved. Wi-Fi connections have improved. This right here, StreamYard, is a really solid, easy to use, very cool platform. I highly suggest everyone take a look at it. The reason I like StreamYard is, number one, I haven't had any problems with using the platform. Number two, as the video shows, you can bring up lower 1/3. You can see what everyone's saying over the right-hand side. You can broadcast to multiple platforms with one click. You can actually start live videos from your phone or tablet. I'm looking at right now of including captions, live captions into my live videos. I'll have that figured out by this afternoon. So if anybody wants to know what service I'll be using, just shoot me an email. And so StreamYard is a very powerful platform that allows you to do shows like this. It allows me to bring people in and interview them, which I love to do. That's the best way to use live video. But it's also inexpensive. It's also easy to use. Another platform that I recommend, high quality, Guy Kawasaki turned me on to this particular platform, BlueJeans. When I originally tried BlueJeans, it was Dolby surround sound type of audio, which is super important, HD quality video. Check out BlueJeans if you're looking for an option other than StreamYard. I don't think you need to, but I'm just putting it out there. Ecamm is another product that I'm extremely happy with. Ecamm I'm using to not only do my green screen aspects of live video, but it also allows me to create the overlays, to bring books into the live video, to have other content appear in the live video. But having said that, one of the things I like best about Ecamm is what's called the virtual cam. It allows me to create a green screen using the Ecamm app, and then when I go live on Zoom or when I go live on StreamYard, I click a button. It's the Ecamm virtual cam, and it pulls in the video feed from Ecamm. So this is what allows me to create a green screen that looks good, that's adjustable in about 30 different ways. You can do a green screen directly in StreamYard, but it doesn't look as good as if you're using Ecamm. And literally, this takes me an extra 10 seconds before I go live. As you can see, the overlays, as this young lady is doing, gives your live streaming show a bit of a more polished look. You can include pre-recorded videos for your intro rolls. You can do picture-on-picture. Ecamm just came out with the ability to do interviews. So if you're looking for something to put a little bit extra polish on your live videos and you want to use a green screen, I suggest you check out Ecamm and complement your Zooms and your streams with Ecamm. Most of you know what Zoom is. I mean, we all understand the power of live video, right? And cloud-based services. You can do your live videos on Zoom with the proper Zoom membership plan. You can push your Zooms to Facebook Lives and to other services. One of the reasons I like Ecamm and I like Ecamm and I like StreamYard is I can push to multiple live video channels and have the type of impact that I'm looking for. The last video service that I want to mention, and it's not necessarily for live streaming, but it's been a game changer in our practice, so I thought I'd include it. It's called BombBomb. And what BombBomb allows you to do is instantly create, when sending an email, a video within your email. So if I was sending Bob Berg a email, I could click a button and actually record a video from within my email platform. Instead of sending Bob a written email, what Bob gets in his inbox is, I'm trying to mouse down a little bit, is a video that looks something like this. Hey, that looks like the dude from American Idol, right? And I think that is. And anyway, so Bob gets an email from me where I say, hey, Bob, it's great to see you. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for stopping by the show. It means the world to me. Have a great day. Reach out if there's anything I can do. I can also, beneath the email, type your traditional text email message. This allows you to stand out when you're dealing with potential clients, when you're reaching out to guests to be on your live video show, and that's why I've got it here. Sending them a BombBomb video email is pretty powerful and a great way. Let me come back to you guys. It's a great way to stand out and have people actually respond to your request to be a guest or answer a client's questions. So once again, it does have to do with video, not necessarily live streaming, but it does have to do with getting guests on the show. And that's kind of where we're revolving to, is that next step, some broadcast tips, and then how to actually, handle your show. Let me look over in the show notes right now. It looks like everyone's saying hi and what's going on to each other. I love this. You guys can talk back and forth in the show notes. Once again, at the end of today's show, I'll be giving away several copies of my book, and I'll let you know how to do it at the end of the show. I'll also be offering a 30-minute consultation on everything we talked about to one lucky winner. So stick around. I'll share how you can do that at the end of the show. All right, let's see. This is just so cool. Thank you, Bob. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. You guys follow Bob Berg. He's just doing amazing things, you guys. So here's what I want to do. We have talked about the mindset of live video. We talked about the basic equipment that you're going to need: lights, mic, camera, right? We've talked about the platforms that you can use to do a live video, whether it's StreamYard, Ecamm, BombBomb, Zoom, or any of the other platforms out there. Now what I want to talk about are some basic broadcasting tips, especially for professionals. If you want to make a good first impression, you've all heard you never have a second chance to make a good first impression. A couple of things. If you take the steps that I've already shared with you regarding equipment, then that first good impression will be easier for you to make. In other words, the video's HD quality, the overlays, the platform, everything's working. You can engage in real time with your clients, with your customers, with your audience. That's super important on live video, is to take the time to engage and to have an interaction, right? You don't just want to go live and just share your version of what you think the broadcast is about. Engage with everybody, have fun, invite everyone, share this out with your friends, share your comments or questions, right? And that's one of the most important things about live video. The other things I want you to take into consideration, and Jenny Q, I'm coming up to something that you and I did a year or two ago, because it's still really, really good. It's still really, really relevant. That is, take into consideration your background. Whether you're doing a live video from your desktop like I am, or you're down at the beach paddle boarding, you're out on a run, you can use your phone to do a live video, okay? Make sure, even when you're doing a live video, you're paying attention to what's in your background. Oftentimes, a 45-degree shift will remove that trash can that's sitting behind you to a beach or to a tree or to a nice view, right? So pay attention to what's in your background. Also for privacy concerns. When you're going live, you want to make sure you're not going live with something happening behind you that you probably shouldn't be broadcasting to the world. You want to make sure you're paying attention to body language. When you bring guests on, just don't listen to what they're saying. Pay attention to how they're saying it. What is their body language telling you? Super important. Make eye contact with the camera. If I was looking at the video right now, I'm looking down. I'm actually looking at the comments. I'm looking at the video. Right now, I'm artificially forcing myself to look at the webcam. How many of you, let me know, you guys, how many of you have a hard time or had a hard time learning how to look at the webcam when doing a video or a recorded video? I mean, let me know in the comments, because it does take a little bit of practice. It's not natural, but if you want to connect and create that digital, one-to-one eyeball connection, you've got to learn how to look at the webcam. It's super important. Let me see. I've also, Jenny Q and I want to show everyone a little show we did together. Let's see if this comes up. So there we go. So a while ago, Jenny Q and I did it was an hour and 7 minutes, Jenny Q, how to create, produce, and promote your next live video. And in this YouTube video, which if you can either take a shot of the URL with your camera or reach out to me, Jenny Q and I go over, I think, 20 or 30 tips, some of which I've already shared with you about doing an effective live video. One of them I want to show you is, for example, when you're doing a video using your phone, you want to make sure that you're actually looking at the camera end of your phone when shooting a live video. How many of you have watched people do a live video and they're not looking at you? They're looking off to the side, right? Whether it's a Facebook Live, Periscope, Twitter Live, even a recorded video. Make sure you understand which side of the phone your lens is at when shooting videos on the go. I love to shoot these videos when I'm walking into the courthouse, walking into a deposition, just got done interviewing a juror. I'll do a live video or a recorded video, and you want to make sure that everyone's looking at the right end of the lens. These are the things that Jenny Q and I talked about in that video. I'll include the link in the show notes once we're done, but it's something that I highly encourage everyone to take a look at. The next thing I'd like to share with you guys is in my book. Let me bring it up real quick. Let's see, share. Okay, so in my book, which is available, also, paperback, but also Kindle and on Audible, on Amazon, there are some chapters that I just want to go through with you real quick that I think you'll find relevant. Chapter number 5, the 7 principles to help you reach superhuman performance on social media. Basically, how to connect with people, use their names, highlight what they're doing during your live videos, whether they're a guest, whether they're in the audience. It's super important to engage, super important to share the good that other people are doing, to personalize your relationship with them. If you have a guest on live video, make sure you do your research and find out what are their hobbies, their interests and passions, and talk about that during the live video show. Even if I'm talking about politics, that doesn't mean I can't talk to my guest a little bit about how much he or she enjoys cooking or enjoys technology, right? So personalize the experience. Chapter 12 talks about Facebook and how to use Facebook Live. Stephanie Liu was a contributing author, chapter 12 in the book. Chapter 18, how to use Periscope to build your business, by Alex Pettit out of the UK. The principles that Alex talks about in chapter 18 apply to Facebook Live, to live video like what we're doing right now. Really good sound media production concepts that you guys can take and immediately put to use. It will absolutely save you when it comes to live video. YouTube for Business, chapter 19, YouTube for Business by Roberto Blake. Takes some of the things that we're talking about and then has a YouTube twist to it. What works on YouTube oftentimes will work with live video. Once we're done with this live video, I'm going to show you how to turn this into a YouTube. Chapter 21, to live stream or pre-record video. That is the question by who else? Jennifer Quinn. So Jenny Q actually contributed a chapter on live streaming, and I'm going to share Jenny Q's book and a couple of other projects that she's working on right now. Chapter 30, 13 ways professionals and business owners can save time by repurposing content on social media. We're going to talk about that in the post-production part of the show, and that's written by me. Chapter 46, customer and colleague collaborations to build relationships and drive engagement, by Nick Rishwain. And super important, you guys. Let me come back to you. And once again, what's cool about StreamYard is I can share a screen, right? I can share a slideshow. I can share a video. Super powerful. Looking over at the comments, it looks like we've got book clubs that are being started. We've got Jenny Q. Thank you for confirming that, because I thought it was just me. Looking at the lens is one of the hardest skills and most important skill to learn, right? Jennifer Hoverstad talking about the fan of backgrounds, going behind the scenes, what's really happening. Little secret, don't tell anybody. My war table is actually right there. And my mediations I have coming up, my arbitrations I have coming up on Zoom. I have stacks of documents. I have some exhibits that I'll be holding up during a Zoom, which is unusual to do for a lawyer. That's a whole nother thing. I don't want you guys to see the mess. So by me using a green screen, I don't have to move everything off the credenza. I can just go live with the green screen, leave that mess over there, and be ready to rock and roll tomorrow for my mediation. So that's one of the reasons I love the green screen technology. Where am I in this? I was talking about Nick Rishwain and what Nick contributed to the book. And once again, it's chapter 46. And thank you, Nick, for taking the time to contribute. Was an approach to writing blog posts where you're bringing in your customer or your client, and you're interviewing them, or you're shining a bright light on them about their products and services or their opinions about the topic you're writing about, and you're bringing them and making them a part of the blog post. One reason that's so darn important is that if they like what you've put together, they're going to share that with their audience. They're going to share that with their customers or clients. They're going to share that with their neighbors. It's a great way to have somebody else share your post, to share your website. The same thing applies when it comes to live video. If I have a guest on that's got a large audience, if I have a guest on that my audience is going to find fascinating, maybe it's a local donut maker that's got an interesting story about immigrating to the United States, right? And I get him or her on the show and we talk about their journey. For example, what comes to mind is somebody who I know who told me about his sister and brother spending 2 nights in the dark, making their way through minefields in Afghanistan on their journey to the United States. And it's a touching story. I'm going to have him on one of my live videos. But by profiling people that have interesting stories, people enjoy watching that. People enjoy and appreciate what they've been through, and they share it with their audience. If you do what Nick's doing with respect to posting blogs and what he's doing with his live video shows, and you do it with your live video show, if you do what I'm doing and bring other people in, they're going to share your show with their audience. And it's a great way to accelerate and amplify your brand, to help other people know who you are and what you do, right? I'm a full-time trial lawyer. That's what I enjoy doing for the last 34 years. But live video has allowed me to create relationships around the world so that when somebody needs a California lawyer, they'll refer that case to my California firm for help. And they know if it's something that I can't help them with, I'll refer them to a friend of mine in town that handles that type of legal matter and can step up and handle the potential client. It's a relationship building tool. Live video, it's not about marketing, it's about building relationships. And Nick does that better than anyone. And so we can take those principles, right, and apply it to live video. So thank you, Nick, for all of that. Jennifer Quinn says, Nick is so much fun to follow on social. He certainly is, but watch out for his black and white video post, and I'll just leave it at that. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is pre-promoting events. Before you go live, okay, and first of all, let me take a step back. I love newsjacking, breaking news stories. That's what got me on stage at Tony Robbins. Was when a breaking news story happens, we immediately will pop on a show like this, or I'll just, if I'm down at the beach, I'll grab my phone and I'll go live on Periscope, Twitter, Facebook Live, and I'll share my thoughts, my opinions, my perspective from a lawyer's perspective, or maybe from a father's perspective on that breaking news story. Reporters pick that up and they reach out for comments, and then you start building your brand through interviews. Live video is a great way to do that. Now, having said that, that's kind of last minute. You have to really jump on a breaking news story. You can use these same approaches and techniques, but it's more of a you've got to act now type of thing. David Merriman Scott has a great book on newsjacking. I think it's like $5 or $6 on Amazon. Check it out and get up to speed on newsjacking. It's probably one of the most powerful branding tools I've ever used to bring in new business into the office and to expand my brand and create top of mind influence with my clients and customers. Now, having said all that, on shows like this, you want to pre-promote the show, right? Let people know that next week your show is going to be starting. Let people know on social media, offline, when you're talking to people, your team in your office, have them spread the word that you have a live video coming up next week on the XYZ topic, just like I did on this show, right? I probably hammered it a little bit too hard, but I wanted to make a point for purposes of this show. And I'm going to share with you some of the different ways that we use to promote shows like this before the show actually takes place. And this is critically important, you guys. So let me go ahead and share my screen once again. And what am I doing here? I think I'm going over to Safari. Let's see what we have here. All right. So how do I pre-promote and actually post-promote my shows? I'm a brand ambassador for some of the companies that I've mentioned here. Some of the companies, I just enjoy using their products and services. I'm paying full price for them. It just depends. Agorapulse is one of the companies where I'm a brand ambassador for them, but I love their products. That's why, right? Once I met their founder, Emmerich, over in Paris, I was hooked. I mean, cool guy, great company. All right. So here's what we do. Before we go live, what we do is we set up on Agorapulse our show description, our show link, and with one click, we can publish our show to all of our social media platforms. That's the power of Agorapulse, okay? So before the show starts, we'll put together some catchy, provocative, interesting 1 or 2 sentence show promotions with links, and those links go back to our main show page. Maybe it's a blog post, maybe it's a Facebook Live page, and we send them out. And people following me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, wherever it might be, YouTube, will get those messages once or twice, 3 times before the show actually starts. And they'll put the show time and date in their calendar. One of the things I love about Agorapulse is when people respond on social media, they DM me, they retweet a tweet, they reach out with a question. Everything comes into one inbox. And that's the power, I think, of what I'm really enjoying about this platform. What happens is all of my communications on social media come into one website page, one inbox, and I can click without having to go to each of the platforms and answer questions, see what people are talking about, see if people are sharing out the show. It's all in one place. It's super powerful. It works really, really well. And I highly, encourage everyone to check out Agorapulse when it comes to the pre-promotion and even the post-promotion of the show, right? Had a show last week. Here's the link. I click once and it goes all over the internet. Other things you want to do before your show is you want to make sure that you're using, for example, Facebook events. Set up a Facebook event, create an interesting description, a catchy title, create a logo using Canva, C-A-N-V-A, that fits within your Facebook event, and then share it with your friends on social media and get them to share it out too. There's just a lot of reasons why you want to use Facebook events. It notifies people when you're going live. It's just a powerful tool to help spread the word as to what you're doing. Let's see. I'm looking at some of the comments. All right. And by the way, you guys, if you're pre-promoting your live videos, let me know what's worked best for you in the comments, if you would, and I'll share it on the screen. Your most effective way to pre-promote a show. MailChimp. I use MailChimp for my email list, for my email communities. So we'll set up our show in StreamYard, Zoom, whatever it might be, and then we'll take that link and we will once again share that link with our community. Hey, next week. Hey, in 1 hour, we're going live. In 10 minutes, we're going live. Okay. That works really well. Keep it short, keep it, respect the time and attention of your audience, but use services like MailChimp to pre-promote your shows. Textedly, Textedly, Textedly is a service that allows me to send out a text message so that you get your text message on a phone that I've got a show coming up. If you're on the list, I click a couple of buttons from my laptop and I can send a text out letting you guys know a show is coming up. You can also just on social media share a link, right? Share a link to your show. Maybe the topics you'll be discussing. What I did was create a detailed blog post of all the bullet points I'd be talking about when it comes to a live video show. That note not only will attract attention because people will see something on the bullet point list that they want to learn more about, but it gives people something they can click and share, whether they do it manually from within your blog post or using Agorapulse or Lately, which I'll be talking about in a couple of minutes, to share out to their audiences on all the different platforms. That's the power of pre-promotion when it comes to live video. All right. So during the show, this is one of the most important things I think you guys need to, that works for me. I'll just leave it at that. I think most people here who I see who are doing live videos, they'll agree with this. But when you go live, it's just like me giving an opening statement in court. When I'm giving an opening statement, in a jury trial, what I don't do is what most lawyers do. They stand up, they walk over, they introduce themselves, they introduce the client, they thank everyone for being there. Nobody wants to be there, right? Except the lawyers. And, the first 2 minutes, it's kind of dry. You're not catching anybody's attention. Here's what you want to do in court and on a live video. In the first 2 minutes, capture the attention of your audience. Like I did at the beginning of today's live video. I told you exactly, if you're a new lawyer starting a practice, if you've got a business and you want to build it out, I'm going to show you today exactly how to do it in a cost-effective way and in a way that will allow you to share your message, not only locally, but nationally and globally. And that's with live video, right? So having said that, let me share with you my favorite 10 ways to not only start a jury trial, my opening statement, I should say, but also, let's see here. Also, when I'm on stage speaking, I may tap into one of these approaches. When I'm doing a live video, I'll oftentimes tap into one of these approaches. And this is at my blog, streaming.lawyer, you guys. You can just type into the search bar, 10 ways to start your next speech. And you'll see what I'm talking about. It'll work in almost any situation. After that first 2 minutes, after that first minute and a half, I'll take a step back. And then once I've grabbed their attention, they're interested in what's about ready to happen. Hopefully they've already bought into my version of the facts, what really did happen and why this trial is so important, why this video is so important. Then I'll take a step back and introduce myself. Thank the court for being here. Thank my client and opposing counsel for, allowing us to try this case in front of a fair and impartial jury. You can do the same thing on live video. You can come back and thank everyone for being there, introduce yourself, and move forward. So here are my favorite 10 ways to do all of the above. Sometimes you want to start off with just an interesting quote. I think in this example, I talked about the power of communication. That was the topic. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. George Bernard Shaw, right? Or maybe a statistic. The next time you deliver a speech, keep in mind that 90% of what you're about to say will be forgotten within 60 minutes. I'm going to show you during today's live video how to create content that will not be forgotten. Are you guys ready? All right, let's get started. My name is Mitch Jackson. You see how you can roll into that? The third way is with a question. Ask a provocative question that people start to think about and let them know you'll be answering the question during their live video. You might want to tap into a current news item. Maybe it's a breaking news story. You might want to, number 5, incorporate a story that reflects or relates to your audience, the venue you're in, and the topic, what you're going to be talking about. Oftentimes, you may just want to give a sincere thank you to the person introducing you or to the audience. That's not my favorite way to start off because that's what everybody else does. And what I want you to do to stand out is I want you to be unique and I want you to be different. If you can share your message in an entertaining, engaging, unique, and memorable way, okay? Unique, entertaining, memorable, and engaging way, people will remember you, they'll remember your message, and they'll pay attention, and you'll all have some fun. And by the way, those tips come from Carmine Gallo, who wrote the book Talk Like TED. That was a bestseller. Carmine contributed a chapter to the book, and he took the top 200 TED speakers, what makes them so good, and he shared a chapter in my book, how we could take these same approaches, these same principles, these same techniques, and apply them to social media, apply them to live video, right? And so that's why communication is so important, because it's one thing to start your live video. It's another thing to actually communicate with your audience and persuasively, and with a little bit of entertainment, right? Share your message. You can have your audience write things down. These are 5 tips I'm going to be sharing with you about how to create an effective live video. I figured these out the hard way through hundreds and hundreds of mistakes over the last 10 years, but I'm going to help you avoid those mistakes. Write down these 5 tips. Let's get started. Tip number 1. That's another way you can start your shows. If you're great at telling jokes, you can start off with a joke or humor. If you're not good at telling jokes, you might want to skip this possibility. You can make a prediction. You can start with a poem or a rhyme. There are just so many different ways you can start your live videos. And once again, let's see. Once again, this works for us in court. It works for us when speaking from the stage, and it definitely works when doing a live or recorded video. Also, once you start your video, I don't want to use the word tease your audience, maybe capture their attention, maybe keep them interested at the beginning of the video like I did. For example, a couple of things that I was interested in is I wanted to know, where are you watching from? What state are you in? And in fact, some of you, I'd still love to see your answers. I got answers from all over the internet. How are you going to use live video? Start the conversation at the beginning of your live video show. Ask them for questions, ask for comments, right? Whether you're using technology like this that StreamYard allows you to do, this is pretty cool, right? Or whether or not you're simply just talking to the camera, let them know that at the end of the show, you're giving away something, you're offering consulting services, whatever it might be. Maybe it's just a soft call to action. Listen, if you guys like the content, join me over at streaming.lawyer. I share more content like this each and every week. Let's start the digital dance together. I mean, whatever it might be, definitely give your audience a reason to stick around. What we've already been doing, and I've talked about this, engaging the audience. This is kind of cool. Check this out, you guys. Look at that. Once again, StreamYard allows you to have a ticker, which is kind of cool. So we've got, we've got Nathaniel from Croatia. It's good to see you here. That's a few time zones away. And we've got someone joining us from Washington, D.C., Jenny Q from Idaho. This is awesome. So there are a lot of things you can do. Let me remove the ticker because it's distracting. And when you're doing interviews, which is my favorite way to use live video, you guys have someone on that you can interview. Make it about the guest, okay? Everything is about the guest. Don't spend a lot of time talking about yourself. Shine a big, bright, beautiful light on your guest. Ask open-ended questions. Listen to what the guest has to say, and then follow that up with another question that's relevant to what the guest just said. For the trial lawyers watching this, it's just like we're doing a direct or cross-examination of a witness. It's just like jury selection or voir dire. It's listening to what the witness or potential juror has to say, and then actually diving a bit deeper and asking more questions, right? I see a lot of live video interviews where the host of the live video spends more time talking about himself or herself than the guest. And I don't think they mean to do that. It's just kind of, it probably has something to do with just being comfortable in front of a camera. I'm just encouraging everyone, when you're interviewing other people, just really go out of your way. No problem. Bob has to take off. You guys connect with Bob. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. And, like I said, Adversaries into Action and Adversaries into Allies is one of my favorite books, and the Go Giver series of books. This is the guy right here, you guys. Follow Bob Burr. Take care, buddy. The other thing I like to do is learn how to ask open-ended questions, right? Questions that allow your guest to answer or respond to with more than just a yes or no response. Encourage dialogue, encourage a conversation. And this works in court. This works in mediations and arbitrations. It works from the stage when I'm speaking with audience members. I don't want a yes or no. I want to engage them in a conversation. Throughout the course of a live streaming show, you want to reset. People join late. Everyone's not here at the beginning of the show. And I haven't done that very well during this show, but I'm going to do it now. This show is all about how to create, to promote, to produce, to market after the show's over, a live video show. That's what we're talking about today. If you guys have questions, ask them in the comments, right? If I have a guest, about every 5 or 10 minutes, I want to pause and reintroduce my guest. 1 or 2 sentences, maybe highlight a different introduction with each 10-minute interval. And that way people joining late, whether it's live or watching the recorded video, can understand and appreciate and wrap their mind around what the conversation's about and what the show is about. Thank you very much. Nathaniel says, super advice. Yeah, that's something I'd like to see more people do, because, and I'm guilty of it too. I just didn't walk my talk with you guys. I come into shows late, they're friend shows, fascinating guest. I think I know what it's about. The conversation's going a different direction, and it's hard for me to keep up. So just try to reset what's going on every 5 or 10 minutes with a live video show. And once again, you can do something like this. Hey guys and gals, it's Mitch Jackson. We're talking live video shows. Let's get back to the show. It could be something simple just like that, but it really does help everybody stay on track. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about, you guys, is by the way, I'm looking into real-time captions for American with Disabilities Act compliance. I want what I'm saying right now, what my guest is saying. I would love to have this display in real time on my live video feed, right? Kind of captions with recorded videos that we're using. I would love to see this with live videos. If you guys are using a service that works well, it's accurate, and it works with StreamYard or any of the other services that I've mentioned, let me know in the comments or email me afterwards if you would, please. And I would love to incorporate that into what I'm doing. Captions are critically important. ADA compliance is something that we need to all focus more on as technology progresses, and I would love to start doing that with my live videos. So I'm open to suggestions, but I'm going to get an answer to this question, and I'm going to have access to a couple of services, hopefully by the end of the day. So my next live video will have closed real-time captions automatically generated based upon AI. I did watch someone earlier this morning, and it was pretty accurate. And that's what kind of planted a seed in my mind. I need to start doing that. So I hope you guys do that too. All right. After the show, you guys, after the show is done, what do you do next, right? What you want to do is, before you go off the air, you want to invite everyone, stay connected with me over at streamy.lawyer. Like I said, and we're not done, okay? We still want to talk about how to post-promote the show. But, you know, if you guys are interested in the book at the end of the show, I'm going to let you know how you can get a copy of the book. You know, stick around, don't leave. Okay, do things like this so that you can continue the interaction and the engagement with your audience. I do the same thing in a jury trial. I don't share everything at the very, very beginning. We work our way through and we tell a story, right? Tell a story, which is what you want to do with live video. Tell a story so that by the end of the trial, people are engaged, interested, and they know what to do next. If you do a live video the right way, you're empowering your audience. You're giving them permission to give themselves permission to take that next step, right? To pick up the phone and call you, to connect with you on social media. You do this through storytelling. You do this through the use of metaphor. You do this using the communication tips that I shared in the third section of the book. You can use all of these with live video. They work very, very well. And it's fun to do, right? It's fun to do because we're all learning something new. Live video is relatively new. And there's no reason why we can't always keep learning. All right. So I will let you know. Jenny Q said, can't wait to hear about the tool. There are a couple out there, Jenny Q, but I'm looking for something that works in real time with 1 or 2 clicks. I want to do this simple in StreamYard. So we'll see what happens, or Zoom also. So after the show, after you're done, you say goodbye, you've done your call to action, you've invited people to stay connected with you, and you go off the air, right? What do you do next? That's where most people, for those of you doing live videos, I mean, confirm with me in the comments, because I think I'm right about this. Most people at that point, they think they're done. I personally think after the live video is over, after we've done everything we've talked about, from this point forward is one of the most important things you can do to promote the video, to continue to build your brand, to get clips and pieces and parts of your live video on the various social media platforms, to incorporate relevant conversations or parts of your interview into blog posts and other types of social media posts. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it in a very effective way, and it's going to knock your socks off, you guys. This is the most, you're going to like this. For those of you that are sticking around both live and recorded, you're going to like some of the platforms that I'll be sharing. So what I want to do is, oftentimes if you have a guest, there's nothing wrong, depending on how you're set up, depending on what your finances are, with absolutely message that guest, use a BombBomb video email, and thank him or her for being on the show. If you have the ability to do so and you feel inclined to share a gift or do something that's focused on what the interest of that guest has, then by all means, do something that kind of sets you apart, and thank that guest for being on the show. I think that's really a nice way to go about things, but also repurposing the show. Now you've got a show, and with StreamYard here, what's really cool, you guys, is when I'm done, I can download the video and audio of this show. I can download them as one file or just the audio to use as a podcast later on. So once I'm done with this, and that's one reason I'm doing this today, and I've taken the time to put all these resources together, is because I'm going to have a video that I can then do what I'm telling you right now I'm going to be doing. So what are the next steps? So let's see. I'm looking at, let's just go ahead. After the show, let's see here. All right. So one of the things we do after the show is we take the audio, and we take the audio of our show, we turn it into a podcast, okay? This is an example. It's at streaming.lawyer. You can type in Haben Girma, Girma. And what we did is we took the audio, we ripped the audio, turned it into a podcast. We use Libsyn, Libsyn, for our podcast distribution service, and shared this podcast, the audio version of the show, with a little bit of editing. There's an intro, there's some music, but we shared it out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Libsyn, right? We also shared Haben's book. She's the first deaf-blind graduate of Harvard Law School, an amazing human being. We met at the Clio Cloud Conference in New Orleans and have stayed in touch ever since. And I wanted to make sure that everyone knew about her book and all the exciting things that she's doing. Because of the nature of that particular show, and I should be doing this with all of my shows, we also created a written transcript of our video so that anyone that's disabled would be able to have different access to the video. They can watch it, listen to it, or read it, right? And I used a service to do this. I'm going to share that service with you, but there are just many different ways you guys can take your live video and then after the fact, do many, many different things with that live video. And we're going to talk about them. One of the things we do with the audio, since we're talking about audio, is we also take that audio and we break it down into 5 to 7 minute sound bites, different topics that we're talking about, and we share them on, and I have to say this quietly because she'll wake up, Amazon Alexa. And we share it through a service, and reach out to me if you want to know more about this, so that people who use that particular voice service can have access to the audio versions of our show. It works really, really well. I've shared my book with you already. Jenny Q has an outstanding book she wrote a few years ago. It's as relevant today as it's ever been, leveraging live streaming to build your brand, start, master, and monetize live video. Lots of the tips, I think Jenny Q would agree, that we talked about today are in her book, but it's a great read and it will help you avoid making, unnecessary mistakes, and it will help put a little polish on your live video efforts. Let me see here. What else I want to talk about? What I want to do is let me come back. And this is the service, you guys. You guys are going to love this service. Well, you're very welcome, Jenny Q. See, in real time, we're engaging on paying attention to the comments. It's not easy. This is not a natural way of speaking, right? But it's an effective way of having a live video. And you're certainly welcome, Jenny Q. Thank you for the support over the years. What I want to share with you now is a product called Lately. And it is a company that we're using. It's a product that we're using. Let me see if I can bring it up. Hang on. You guys, this is so cool. Here we go. All right. So Lately, in all of these products I'm mentioning, they're listed on my my brand page. If you go to streaming.lawyer/brands, streaming.lawyer/brands, it'll give you links to all of these different products. And once again, some of them I'm a brand ambassador for, some of them I'm not. I just recommend the products. But what this product does is it allows you to take your live video, okay, your file, and it allows you to import it into Lately. Lately's AI service will then automatically take that video and turn it into 20, 50, 100 video clips with a description of each section of the clip. It times and it syncs that version, that 30-second clip, with the description for you. It creates, and Lately will tell you, they'll get you to third base, to first, second, to third, and all you need to do is bring your content home. It'll get you to third base and create with 1 or 2 clicks, like I said, 50, 75, 100 different potential social media posts from that video clip. You then clean it up a little bit or have a team member clean it up. You click a couple of buttons and it schedules those clips to be sent out to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever social media platforms you're engaging on, pursuant to either a schedule or queue that you set, or pursuant to its AI technology. Okay. I mean, how powerful is that? Other ways we're using Lately is we are taking our audios and we're importing our audio, our podcast audio, and it's doing the same thing. It's taking that audio and it's creating clips that we can then click, clean up, and send out almost instantly to our social media platforms over the course of the following week, the following months, or the following years. With Lately, you can import your video and your audio, and it will create a transcription of the content. So what we did for the Haben Girma live video interview is I took those files, we then imported them into Lately. You just click and upload, and Lately then transcribed the interview so that we could clean it up. It was actually pretty darn accurate. We did have to clean up a couple of things, but no big deal. It was like 5 minutes worth of work compared to 2 hours of having someone transcribe it and paying for that. And so now we have a transcript that we can use to create a blog post. This is after the show's over. The blog post obviously is being generated for SEO purposes, right? We now have an audio that's being sent out in different bits and pieces with links back to our podcast. And now we have video clips being sent out with links back to either our original video so people can watch the whole interview, or what I recommend, to a subsequent blog post that we set up that people click and go to the blog post where the original video is embedded, but we dive a bit deeper into some of the topics. So that's a pretty powerful tool. The other thing that Lately does, let me come back to you guys real quick, is it allows you to also schedule content like Agora Pulse. And so I like to use both platforms. I'm a big fan of both platforms. And you can schedule your content, obviously with Lately. You can schedule your content with Agora Pulse. You can have Lately use its AI technology to create content for you to get you on third base. I think that's a super powerful tool. And all of these things are happening once the show's done. But this is how you create content once and then repurpose it 12, 15, 20 different ways. You take that piece of content and create a tweet for Twitter. You take that piece of content and it becomes a post on LinkedIn. It's now an Instagram post. It's now an Instagram or Facebook story. It's now part of a blog post or 20 different blog posts that you're writing. Creating your live video is one thing. Repurposing the content afterwards, I think, is really the way to go. It just makes sense. Now, I'm looking at some notes. Let me see. You guys, I mentioned Jenny Q. They also have a new show out. It's a live video show. And the reason I'm bringing it up, in fact, most of the people in the comments have shows, and I encourage you guys to watch what they're doing. How are they handling the shows and their guests? How are they pre-promoting the show? How are they producing the show live? And then how are they post-producing the show like we talked about? But Jenny Q has a new show. It's a weekly show. Does that make sense? And what they're doing is it's a variety show, and they're talking about real stuff, why it makes sense, why it doesn't, and it's got a big side, a huge side of humor attached to it. So if you want to see a pro doing live video, check out Jenny Q's new show. and she will definitely be able to give you some ideas and plant some seeds. Everything I'm talking about, this is not what we learn in law school, right? I'm the guy that started his practice out of the back of his car, playing basketball down Laguna Beach with like one client. And then fast forward to today, we've got a global practice, and it's all because of social, digital. Yes, the results we get in the courtroom, you got to walk your talk. That's super important. But it's by embracing and taking advantage of this technology, right? And this is how you build your brand. This is how you get known above all the noise. It's by using technology like video and live video, which, by the way, all of the platforms, consumers right now, especially in COVID-19, this is what people want. They want video and live video. But what they do want are interesting shows and interesting guests. And see, this works, you guys. So Jenny Q's got a new show, right? Jennifer Hover says like, hey, I didn't know you had a new show. I can't wait to see it. Now I'm gonna let everybody in on a little secret. And Jennifer Hoverstead and I haven't talked about this too much, but we've kind of talked about maybe doing another show together. We had the show.live. We had some really cool guests, Jennifer. That was fun. But it's like just doing these shows, it keeps you in touch with people, right? And I think that's the fun part of what we're doing. If you're a professional, if you're a business owner, this is a way to get your brand out there and to really generate a personal brand, right, that will stick with you, whether you're moving companies, whether you're in different time zones. It's just a great welcome mat for people to come into our world. I do want to share with you guys a couple of YouTube tips real quick, because I think this is kind of important. Everything we talked about, we can bring into YouTube, okay? Once this video is done, this live video, I can then it's actually being broadcasted live to YouTube right now. There are people watching this on YouTube. There are people commenting on YouTube. Once we're done, I'm going to go in and clean up the description on YouTube, include some links. But if I wasn't using StreamYard, if I was using a different platform, once you're done with your live video, take that video, take that file, clean it up and upload it into YouTube, okay? And you can create a YouTube video with your live streaming video. Now, if you want to learn how to do this, if you're looking to figure out, or raise the bar when it comes to lighting and cameras and YouTube technology, because it is related to live videos, I've got a couple of suggestions. One is Sean Cannell's company, Think Media. And Think Media, Sean does some really cool stuff. He offers a lot of how-to videos, the best camera equipment to get, how to build up your subscribers. And the reason I'm bringing Sean up is I did speak at his big YouTube virtual conference this year in Vegas, and we talked about the legal ramifications of video and live video. But we met down at Social Media Day, San Diego. We both spoke, and we got a chance with our toes in the sand. My son was down with us. We got a chance to get to know each other, and we hit it off. And when you guys are checking out people's YouTube channels, use the playlist. Okay, the playlist is a great way to dive down into the topics. Like these are the topics that Sean talks about: best cameras, best equipments, beginners, smartphone creator, how to do what we're talking about using your smartphone and nothing else. Lighting tips, right? What lights to use. Everything you need is right here. Another YouTuber who's a friend of mine that does amazing things, and I think offers really good, direct to the point tips, techniques, and approaches is Roberto Blake. And once again, Roberto's YouTube channel is set up the same way. And you can drill down, to playlist, and you can dive down. Roberto does talk about entrepreneurship and different ways to generate income, but he also has a lot of videos on equipment, on how to create YouTube thumbnails, which are super important. A lot of people overlook those. And so there's just a lot of good content out there that I would encourage you guys to check out. If you want to stay in touch with me, hop on over to the Streaming Lawyer, streaming.lawyer. That's where I share the type of content that we're talking about today. That's where, I've got all my links, different tips that I post. If you're a lawyer interested in tapping into the power of live video, digital and social media to really build your brand, to build new relationships. I'm not a big fan of the M word, the marketing word. I don't think that works really well on social media. But if you want to build out relationships and connect with people, not just across the street, but on the other side of the country or the other side of the world. They're all potential referral sources. Check out our Legal Minds Mastermind. It's at legalminds.lawyer. I'd love to have you guys there. If you have any questions, reach out to me. But let me come back, because I did promise everyone that I would be giving away some copies of my book, and that I would also be giving away a 30-minute consultation. It's valued at $400, you guys. So here's what I want to do. If anyone watching this show live or recorded today, right? It's Wednesday, the 28th. If you guys shoot me an email to Mitch, M-I-T-C-H. In fact, let me go ahead and bring up my banners real quick, just so you've got the spelling of my name, Mitch@jacksonwilson.com or Mitch@mitchjackson.com. If you shoot me an email and say, hey, Mitch, I'd love to have a copy of your book, I'll make sure that I send you a copy of my book. It's my pleasure, okay? It was a best-selling book in 2 categories on Amazon. Everything in this book is more relevant today, especially because we're all communicating right now in this COVID-19 world using Zoom and using videos and the cloud-based services. I think it's more relevant today than it's ever been, especially the 3rd section of the book on communication, how to communicate, right? One of my favorite communication 5-step processes is, number 1, to state the problem. Number 2, agitate the problem. Number 3, offer a solution. Number 4, show how that solution will help your immediate audience. Number 5, the right call to action based upon the situation you're in. You can incorporate these 5 steps into the social media content that you create. And look, you guys, this is the way it works right there. Thank you very much. Mitch@jacksonwilson.com. That works. That's one of the email addresses, you guys. And I'll make sure to get that out to you. Now, if someone would like a 30-minute consultation on what we've talked about, and once again, I'm a full-time trial lawyer. What I'll do is share with you my thoughts, my ideas for free, and then I'm going to turn you on to the resources and the people and friends of mine that can make things happen for you. It's just not something I want to do, but I know who you need to contact. If you're having challenges with anything that we've talked about, I can turn you on to the right people or maybe answer your questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to offer 1 complimentary consultation, you guys. And it can be over the phone, it can be via email, it can be on a private live video, just like this, just you and I. Here's what I want you to do. You've got my email address. Okay, you've got my email address. And what I want you to do is shoot me a short paragraph, 1 paragraph, on why you would like to touch base with me for 30 minutes on your live video or social media or digital branding, relationship, or business needs. Why would you like to chat with me for about 30 minutes? Okay, and I'm not going to hold you to the 30 minutes. If we hit it off and we're on a roll, we can just have fun and just take as much time as we need. Shoot me an email, Mitch@jacksonwilson.com, and let me know. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, using my discretion, I'm going to select the individual who I think I can add the most value to. I mean, just hopefully you guys will respect this and let you know that you are the winner of the complimentary consultation, right? Those of you that reach out where I'm not able to help you, but if I think I've got a friend that's probably the right fit, I'll go ahead and respond to everybody and I'll make sure I get you going in the right direction. But I want to just make sure that my anyone that I can help, they get the most bang for the buck. And I really want to make a difference in someone's life. So I'm here for you guys when it comes to everything we've talked about. Do me a favor. Please start using live videos. Use the techniques that we've talked about. Keep it simple. We're up and running in 2 to 3 minutes. I'm not using expensive equipment. I'm not using a complicated process. This works, and it works really well. Lighting, mic, webcam, StreamYard, understanding the dynamics of interacting when it comes to live video. It just works, right? So I encourage you guys to do the same. So thank you, everybody, for reaching out, for your questions, your comments, for sharing this with your audience. I sincerely appreciate it. I sincerely appreciate each and every one of you. I started practicing law 34 years ago because I wanted to help people. And what I've noticed with social media and live video is it really allows me to help more people a lot faster all around the world. And I'm hoping that each one of you feel like I've been able to help you just a little bit too. If you have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, stay safe. And I know it's tough right now. Try to enjoy the journey. Wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands. Please vote. And while you're doing all of that, make each day your masterpiece. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate you. Bye-bye.